Welcome to Level Up, the Video Game Podquiz.
I know for a fact this is Phil Fish's favourite podcast.
In the best video game tradition, the players level up by earning experience, which is awarded by me for being interesting, knowledgeable and amusing. XP can't be lost, but an incorrect answer will see XP awarded to the other players. Joining me to play this week are Debbie Timmins.
Hooray!
Dave Gower.
Hello!
And Hanny Gohary.
Good evening.
Now, before we start this week, I have to declare that Hanny and I have been flirting online for how many years? I don't know, probably over a decade though.
10 or something?
Yeah, it's probably a good decade. But about 18 months ago, that flirtation became physical. So I believe the Reddit 4chan conspiracy conglomerate requires I unveil myself as a filthy whore, and Hanny is tonight's winner. So congratulations, Hanny.
Yay!
Hooray!
Huh, alright. I see where this is going.
Do we all have buzzers?
Yep.
I think
What?
so.
Taking Debbie forgot your buzzer.
I did.
Clap by the mic.
Clap.
That works.
I could clap.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
This is where we find out Dave was going to clap as well.
No. I think this works. No, that's awful. What the hell?
Yeah, that does
I
not
didn't
work.
hear anything for ages, and then there's something in the background.
No, it's the worst. Okay, hang on. I'll have a buzzer by then. Just I'll make a noise somehow. Something will make a noise. Even if I like throw a can at a wall, I'll make a noise somehow. Fine.
How about
Oh,
you
it's
have the
PCA.
clap and I'll just go bleep?
Don't give me the clap.
Oh, dear.
Hanny?
I'm feeling guilty for having a proper buzzer now, but it's one I recycled from the first episode. Where it's anyway, it's this ghostly sound.
That's your monster idol.
Yeah, you didn't need to expose that.
There's nothing wrong with having monster high dolls, Hanny.
I know.
Every
They're not mine.
10-year-old girl shouldn't be without one. So,
Dear.
right then. So, video games. What have we been playing? Debbie, start with you.
I've been playing Pillars of Eternity, the backer beta for the Kickstarter backers from Obsidian.
Right.
It's an RPG that is built very much in the style of Baldur's Gate, so much so that it actually uses the same icons and mouse cursors and stuff.
Does it still use AD&D 3?
No, they do have some their own spells with their own ridiculous names and their own races.
Okay.
So it's all very confusing. But in terms of visual style, looks like the Infinity Engine, plays like the Infinity Engine. Can't see a damn thing like the Infinity Engine.
Sweet.
But in 1080p, hurrah!
I don't know anything about that game. Nothing at all. It's completely
What,
passed me
Baldur's
by.
Gate?
Oh no. I don't know a great deal about Baldur's Gate, to be fair.
It's amazing!
It's one. I've got it. I own it. I own Icewind Dale as well.
Not so amazing, but okay.
I vaguely remember playing a little bit of Baldur's Gate when it came out. I've got Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale and several other games from that era. Planescape Torment.
So good. Oh my god, you need to play Planescape Torment. It's one of the best video games ever made.
Yeah, so people keep telling me, but where'd you find
Bloody play it then.
Easy said done. Listen, I'm just about playing Metal Gear Solid.
Well, fuck that shit.
Well, why don't you say what you really feel?
I'm quite enjoying it. I'm stuck on Psycho Mantis at the minute because I just can't get him. He keeps running away and he knows where I'm going to shoot and just...
Have you tried unplugging things?
Shh.
This is literally the only thing I know about Metal Gear.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't.
Something
my
about
neighbour
unplugging
threw it, I
things.
watched him.
yeah, except you don't have anything plugged down playing it on the PS3, so there's nothing to unplug.
Oh, how does that work on that?
See, there's my problem, Andy.
If
I
you
knew
knew
I wouldn't be stuck on Psycho Mantis. But yeah, I'll get there in the end. I'm sure. I'll work it out. I've hit it a few times, so it must be possible. It's just bloody hard. Dave,
Yes.
what have
I've
you
still
been
been
playing?
practicing StarCraft.
Still practicing StarCraft.
Yeah, I'm still awful. Dream hacks in a month. I'm awful.
Yeah.
But, oh well, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll just go out in round 1 and then sit in the players area and drink all the Coke.
Yeah, is it not like 15 years too late to try and get good at StarCraft?
StarCraft 2, not the first one. Brood War.
It's about 5 years too late.
Well, the competitive scene's still growing for some reason. I don't understand why, but it's still. I do understand why. It's a fun game, but
Yeah.
people are still playing it.
Yeah, I was at G3, the Gfinity competition in
yeah.
London the other week, looking at the competitive players, going, "Holy crap! I have no idea what's going on, but these people seem to like it. My fingers will never move that fast."
No, it's fine. Yeah, yes, neither are mine. I'm 32 now, so I don't stand a chance. But I'm going to try and outsmart them, even if I can't outsmack the keyboard. I played some Planetary Annihilation as well, because I kickstarted that about 7,000 years ago, whenever that started. They've changed the game since I last played it, obviously. And it is good fun to just grab a random asteroid and throw it at the planet the opponent's making a base on, and blow them up. It's always good to blow things up, and they blow up pretty well.
Cool. Blowing stuff up is good. Although, as an interesting aside, or maybe an uninteresting aside, underneath my copies of Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale on my shelf is a sealed copy of StarCraft 2.
Sealed.
We're just playing through your shameful back catalogue.
Hanny,
Yes.
what Nintendo games have you been playing?
Why do you automatically assume they're Nintendo games?
Yep.
I've somehow managed to focus on video. I mean, you did ask what video games we've been playing.
Yes.
But I'm going to fall under the games banner and say...
Been playing filthy board games.
well, not filthy ones.
Yeah, what you won't talk first.
If you
Where's
know
the fun
any,
in that?
send them my way. No, I have just been playing... but yeah, I have been playing board games. And I was never into well, you know, the usual Scrabble and Monopoly ones aside. I was never really into board gaming until a friend of mine introduced them to me earlier this year. I think it was in January. And he's on Twitter. His name's Shinra, Shynra, if anyone would like to follow him. But yeah, he invited me over and said he wanted to try out a go of Space Crusade, I think it was. And I wasn't, you know, I was up for it, but I wasn't really expecting to be that into it. And, you know, amazingly, well, to myself at the time, I was, and I've been playing a lot of board games for the last 6 months or so, and purchased probably about 15 of them all. So, but yes, most recently, I was playing Forbidden Desert with that same friend and a few others, and it's good for beginners sort of thing. It has clear rules where you're trapped in this desert, have to sort of unearth a few artifacts and build a flying machine to get the hell out of there. And it's a co-op game, which is nice because, like, the favourite multiplayer video games that I've played have always been the co-op experiences as well, like Monster Hunter. I've never really liked the whole... well, I've never been good at the whole shoot each other in the face and see who gets the highest score, deathmatch type ones. But yeah, if anyone's looking to see if board games are their thing, I'd actually recommend Forbidden Desert. I think it's about... I got it off Amazon for around 16 quid or less. And it's great for, I think, 2 to 5 players. And it's a great starting point.
Marvellous.
There you go.
Not played Forbidden Desert. I've played the game the guy who made Forbidden Desert, the one he did before it, Forbidden Island.
Forbidden Island, yeah. I've seen videos of that.
Yeah, I played that with the family. My daughter absolutely loves it. And again, it's a co-op game, so you got that whole working together thing, and it is great fun. It's less complicated than Forbidden Desert because you don't have the sand piles building up; you just have the water coming in. So you're turning over the tiles as they get flooded, and then if that if that card for that tile comes up again, then it's lost altogether, and you've got to collect 4 artifacts and get to the helipad to escape. And yeah, different characters have different special abilities that they can use, and again, it's all about teamwork and great fun. Marvelous board games, brilliant.
Are they then related, or is it just that the guy likes to make things forbidden?
That's a good question. Why is it forbidden? I don't know. I think it's a
I think
Jules
their main
Verne type
theme,
thing, isn't it?
yeah, it's the same theme of sort of their co-op games where you all need to cooperate. And
But they don't like share a mechanic or anything.
Yeah, well, to a point, to a degree, the idea that they're cooperative, you have to collect the artifacts and escape. In Forbidden Island, the idea is that the water level is constantly rising, and you're trying to escape the island before it's completely submerged. In Forbidden Desert, your thirst level goes up, or your water level goes down.
Basically, yeah, you've got water, and
Okay.
it depletes every time you turn over an event card that shows the sun beating down. So you have to constantly, you either use items to protect yourself, or you can. There are 2 well spots on the board, which is actually just like made up of individual smaller cards, and you can replenish the water at the well, but only once, unless you're the water carrier with a special ability. But yeah, it has a lot of I've played a lot of co-op games now, and I think out of all of them, probably Forbidden Desert is the one that keeps it interesting up until the last moment. It's a very fun game.
Sounds brilliant.
Does. News quiz time. As ever, there are 6 imaginary boxes for the players to select from, which will lead to a question rooted in a news story from the past 7 days. It's not necessarily about giving me the answer, but more identifying what the story is. Because sometimes the answer's in the question itself. So, Debbie, we'll start with you.
Hooray! Imaginary box number 5, please.
Imaginary box number 5. The lid creaks open. How are Blizzard going to get UK World of Warcraft subscriptions up?
By selling more.
Well, they're certainly hoping to, but that's not what the story
I have
is.
no idea. I saw... No idea. They have a free version coming out. Not a free version, a new expansion coming out. I saw something about that. I don't know. I was at Gamescom, and therefore this week has been all hiding in the billions of interviews and previews I did, and trying to make sure I don't accidentally see new news, which I realize now was a terrible strategy, given that I was coming on a news pod quiz the following week.
Yeah. At least these will be fresh news stories for you.
Oh yeah, I'm learning lots.
Dave or Hanny, either of you want to try and buzz in and get this?
If we have any idea, we would have buzzed in already.
Nobody cares is the answer.
I'm sure I read something about their subscriptions were falling and they didn't expect them to rise again or something. And that's all I remember. I don't even remember where. Did you actually mention that on last week's show? I don't know.
I remember the past few months they've basically been hemorrhaging subscribers.
They have. Yeah, they've lost 800,000 over the last quarter.
Was it by begging?
It's not. I'm going to have to tell you, aren't I? Blizzard are actually increasing the subscription charge by up to 11% for World of Warcraft players in the UK to coincide with the release of the Warlords of Draenor expansion on November the 13th. The MMO...
That sounds a lot like a way to lower subscription.
Well,
but perhaps raise subscription revenue.
Yeah.
/ pedant. Carry on.
The MMO, which while still the most successful in terms of subscription numbers, has seen figures steadily declining, with 800,000 subscriptions lost over the past quarter, bringing the total global figure to 6.8 million. UK players with an automatically renewing active subscription will retain their current subscription rate for up to 2 years as long as they don't cancel or amend it. But what's interesting about this is the fact that this price increase is UK only. It's not Europe. It's not as if it's regional. It's just purely on the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a bit when people, cry doom or something for Apple just because some numbers have come in that say they've sold fewer iPads or iPhones than the previous quarter. And then you're like, well, yeah, but they're still selling millions and they have more money than some small countries. So,
Yeah.
They're only getting $8.99 a month from 6.5 million people. Oh, poor them.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And like you say, while the numbers have dropped, they're expecting they'll have a little surge again when the expansion comes out, because there'll be people who'll have maxed out their characters and they'll think, well, I may as well save a few quid by not subscribing for a few months, the new expansion comes out and they resubscribe for another year.
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
not
much
uncommon.
what they expect to happen, I think.
Okie dokie. Right, Dave, you next. Number 5 has gone. Pick a box, please.
I'll have 3, please, Bob.
Have 3. Which puppy thinks you're worthless?
Wow. It's not the one that plays Dota. Actually, no, Puppy did leave. Ooh. It's probably still not the Dota one, because no one really cares that much about Dota, apart from the International. Yeah. Puppy left Navi. Navi left Puppy. One of the two. Puppy and Navi no longer play Dota together. That is the only Puppy know information I have.
These are people, are they?
Well, Navi is a team. Natus, Vincere, they're an Eastern European team that play pretty much everything like Counter-Strike and Dota and League.
Esportsers. So an esports are left an esports group.
Yes.
Right.
So, yeah, an esports player has left an esports team, and the esports player was called Puppy, and he left Navi Gaming. That is the... But I don't think he thinks Navi's worthless, or me personally either. I don't know what he thinks about me, to be honest. I haven't asked him. I don't even know him. Should I know him?
I must be getting old.
Why do you know that?
Any of
Why
That's
do
probably
you know?
why he thinks you're worthless.
Why do you know he thinks I'm worthless? I don't understand.
Thankfully, this isn't a personal matter for you, Dave, so you've got nothing to worry about there.
Okay.
I don't know, Debbie or Hanny, how do you want to try and jump in and get what this story
My
was?
mind is a blank and more than usual. So...
Yeah, no.
Okay. This is Caspian Prince, founder and CEO of the Revenge of the Titans developer Puppy Games. He said that the desire for cheap games and the likes of the Humble Bundles and Steam sales has meant that each customer's monetary value to the company has been eroded to the point where they are effectively worthless. While previously game sales would cover the cost of further development and support, that financial incentive no longer exists. Basically what he's signalling is the doom of indie games, because they're having to pump them out at such a low price. There's just not worth it.
I mean, surely you've got the free-to-play evangelists out there who would argue him back and just tell him he's not moving with the times. And I mean, I hate free-to-play. Well, I hate might be a strong word, but I'm not one of them. But I know there are plenty of people out there even writing books and such and detailing how the future model is free-to-play, and that's the way you have to go when you're sort of...
That's pretty much the point he's making, isn't it?
Well, it sounds like he's saying the price is not worth it when you're in bundles and such. But I mean, the whole point of free to play, I guess, is I'm trying to remember from articles from years ago, but you have to get. I think it's over 1 million downloads. I think it's 2 to 3, and then you'll probably only get about 10% of your downloaders actually paying for stuff.
Closer to 3, I believe.
But actually, you might be right. Yeah, I think it is 3%. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I thought 10. But yeah, I mean, you have to get millions of downloads, and then you get a small percentage paying. But I don't know. It sounded to me more like he was thinking of the usual price for games, even down to the 79p or whatever they are on the App Store.
Well, I think that's what he's saying, is that the costs they incur by having to do all this stuff and then ongoing support and all that means that when they sell things in bundles, they're just not earning enough to cover it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he's saying. What he's talking about is obviously an indie game used to be able to be released and they'd sell it for $20. People would buy it, and that money that they got in would then fund continued developments, new projects, and support for the current game. Whereas, like what he's saying is when people are willing only to spend $1 on it, or people aren't even buying the game because they think, well, no, I'm not going to buy it for $10 when it comes out. I'll wait until it's $2 in a Steam sale. And that's the mindset from the outset. Then,
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
By the time
that is absolutely happening.
The game's done. They won't have had money to, if there has been problems with it post-release, they won't have had the time and the money to fix it before the Steam sale starts. And it's this worry that it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah, there's been that general slow destruction of the middle-priced game. Like you've got titles, and you've got the free-to-play or games that are less than games that are less than $3 or $4, the app games or just the cheap ones on Steam. And you now got this. There's nothing in the middle because nobody cares about the stuff in the middle.
Hanny,
yes.
What have we got rid of? We got rid of 3 and 5. So,
3, yeah. I'll go for 4.
number 4. Who did we learn got suckered with a low punch this week?
Who wrote these questions?
That would be me.
I don't understand any of them.
I know it's something about Sucker Punch now. The
Probably.
terrible thing, I'm pretty sure there was something about Sucker Punch last week, and I can't remember what it was. Who were they again?
They made a video game, I think.
Possibly.
Made a few.
This is about Sucker Punch, the game studio.
It is about Sucker Punch.
That's, oh dear. I can't. I literally can't even remember what they've made. It's just
One of their games was decent. I vaguely remember that, but I can never remember which one. And then I get it confused with a terrible film that everybody thought was awful.
Yeah, that's the problem. It pops into my head every time someone says Sucker Punch.
Yeah, and then I remember, no, Sucker Punch Studio actually did something okay. I just don't know what it was.
They're not one of the ones behind that Homeland, or
No.
No, that was Crytek.
Yeah, it was Crytek. I can't remember
formerly
who they
that
sold
other
it
studio.
to.
Sucker
Not
Punch
THQ.
did Infamous and Sly Cooper.
Ah, okay. He should probably get the point because I've just.
Infamous was all right.
I know this story thanks to my friend who introduced me to board games, really. But yeah, they've been cut back. They've lost some employees.
Yes.
Sony have culled them.
Yes.
Yeah. SEA have just come along and went, yeah, you're not making that anymore. We're just going to kill half your jobs.
I'm guessing Infamous Second Son didn't. I think it did all right. I mean, some people were playing it, going by my Twitter feed.
I thought it did pretty well.
Yes, this was the story that Sony have confirmed that Infamous and Sly Cooper developers Sucker Punch have made an undisclosed number of staff redundant. It's not uncommon on completion of a project for staff to be let go, and given their most recent title, Infamous Second Son, sold over 1 million copies and was the fastest selling entry in the franchise to date, it's hoped that these are just the usual downscaling for the start of the next project, rather than a permanent reduction to the development team. We hope.
We hope.
So bad management then.
Well, it's normal. That's the way that these development cycles go, isn't it?
Well, normally people just leave. They don't get made redundant. They just leave.
Yeah.
We finish a game, and then everyone just goes, well, I'm done with this game now. I'm burnt out. I've done I've been here for 6 months. I don't even remember what a sausage looks like. I've never been home. I don't understand anything. And then they leave. I want to go to bed forever. And then they,
Which again should not be normal in software development. Like you say, it's normal, but it's normal in studios that don't plan for multiple projects. So when you're winding down one, you're winding up another already. You're not just sitting there waiting for a pitch to get some more money later.
Well, it depends. Like I work for Codemasters, and we have our share of, but you work on a team. Like you either work on you work on the racing team, or you work on the app team, or whatever. And then once you finish the racing project, like there may not be the other racing project might not be coming out for another 12 months. So you're just kind of like, well, now what do I do? And some people go work on tech for a bit to brush up on the engine and get all that kind of stuff, the stuff that was hacked in if we had no time to do something in one project. So they kind of push it into the next project so that it's actually reasonable and good. And then some people just go, it doesn't even matter even if there was ramping up another project. Some people just go and leave.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's normal for anything.
Yeah.
Oh, got some nice little bit of insight there. Right, Debbie, we're back to you. We have 1, 2, and 6 remaining.
Number 1, please.
Number 1. Do we play mature games?
Yes. I certainly do. Do you?
I suppose it depends on your definition of mature.
Yeah. I considered playing Spec Ops The Line once. That makes you think, right? That has ethics and stuff, and also shooting and blood.
It does. Mm-hmm. Now, the clue in this question is the word we, because it's not spelled W-E.
Yes, there was something about the Wii. Again, this is all I know. Somebody said something about the Wii not being a mature platform. It may have been Ubisoft.
It wasn't me.
Was it when Ubisoft said they're not going to make games for the Wii U anymore?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Because it's not a mature platform. whatever the mature platform means. Is that referring to install base, or is it referring to we like to make Assassin's Creed and nobody bloody bought the last Assassin's Creed who ported badly?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this was Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot. He said that the Wii release of Watch Dogs, which has already been released on PC, Xbox 360, PS3, Xbox One and PS4, so in all likelihood anybody who wanted the game would have a system they could have already played it on, will be the final game the company released on the console that isn't aimed at a family audience. Guillemot used sales of the delayed, incomplete and relatively unsupported Assassin's Creed games on the platform as evidence that the Wii U is not a platform for mature games. And presumably by mature, Guillemot is referring to the game's rating rather than their content. Okie dokie, Dave.
Yeah,
back to you then. Oh, you're keen. All right, calm yourself. Number 6. Oh, you're going to like this one. Oh,
really?
You are proper going to like this one.
Uh-oh.
Why might Dota 2 players be in for a shock to their system?
What?
Why might Dota 2 players be in for a shock to their system?
Shock to their system.
Yes.
That happened this week.
A news story from this week, yeah.
About Dota 2.
About Dota 2. And they might be in for a shock to their system, which might also be called a system shock.
He's subtle, isn't he?
Yes, thank you. Oh my god.
Giving a lot of hints this time. This episode.
Yeah, I don't actually deserve any points for this. They're doing a system shock to announce a pack for the Dota 2 game.
Hey.
So that you can have Showdown talking to you or something when you play.
Yep, absolutely right. This is Stephen Kick, CEO of Night Drive Studios, posted that the studio are looking to bring Showdown, the rogue AI and antagonist of the System Shock games, to Dota 2. Kick said he has Terry Brocious, who provided the voice of Showdown, and Eric Brocious, I'm assuming a relation, System Shock 2's sound engineer on board. So should the Dota community support the idea, there could be a Showdown announcer pack. Lovely.
I can't imagine that won't be supported. I think people will be rolling all over themselves for that.
Hell yeah. I say, stick a Showdown in everything, it'd make it everything better.
Absolutely.
I still haven't played System Shock 2.
Me neither.
I will get around
Pair
to
of
it.
your wrong'uns.
I also thought Bioshock was shit.
Oh, God. Sorry, I haven't played it.
Emily King played, from Hex Dimension, played System Shock 2 recently. And I read what she said about it, and it genuinely had me in tears. I was so upset that she didn't enjoy it. Because I
Have you played it recently, though?
I play it regularly.
Okay.
It is my favourite game ever. I'll say regularly. Every couple of years or so, I'll need to get
That's
me fixed.
regular.
Because I can blast through it in a couple of days because I know it inside out now. But it still just thrills me to bits. I still want to find every audio file. I still want to know the stories of the people who died, what they went through, the agony they went through just of not knowing what was happening to their loved ones, trying to meet up, because clearly there's people who've tried to escape and have failed. And then right at the very end, there's just a sense that, hang on, some people may have escaped as well. And there's just that little glimmer of hope that there might be other people out there that survived as well. And it's wonderful. And Showdown is just such a great character as well. The way she speaks to you, that you are just a piece of scum, is absolutely brilliant. But it did so much. I mean, like, Bioshock takes a lot of the ideas from System Shock 2 and just dilutes them so much. Like, the audio files in Rapture, you can't think to yourself, why would they have them? What is the point of them? It's a nice idea, and I like the way it works. But as a mechanic, why? If you got the City of Rapture, why would people have them? What use are they? Whereas in System Shock 2, clearly they're there for a reason. They're people's diaries and they're people's logs and they're people's communications with each other. They actually serve the purpose. You can imagine on that ship they had a role to play. And it's all that, and it's just uncovering the whole story of what happened, what went wrong, and again, what was done to you, the abuse that was done to you prior to you waking up, that you uncover as you're going through the game. And it's just, and the fact that you can fail. It was one of the first games where you could fail. You couldn't do everything in the game, and it was the first time we had this, certainly as far as a first-person game was concerned, where you couldn't open every door, you couldn't get every weapon. You had to specialise. You had to choose what you were going to do, and you could make mistakes in those choices. You spent your nanites carefully to upgrade your things. I want to be able to hack better, so you improved your hacking. Next thing you know, your gun's dead. Again, deteriorating weapons. The gun would knacker. You could fix the gun.
I thought people complained that was a bad point, though.
Oh, no.
People whinge about that kind of stuff all the time, though. I can't kill so efficiently. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like the kind of perfect game I would have loved.
Oh, I mean,
we just don't get anymore.
Yeah, that's very much. We certainly don't get games like that anymore. The fact that things could go wrong, and when they went wrong, you could be absolutely screwed. Research, again, you could only research how to use certain things if A, you had the technical skills for the researching, and B, you could find the chemicals that you needed to do the research as well, which sometimes meant going to different floors in the ship and you'd find like
you had to explore.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't just a corridor that you got led down. What?
No, you're thinking of Halo. It's also a sci-fi. So.
Never played that either.
And again, the fee you'd have, like I've mentioned it a few times on the pod quiz, and I'm going to mention it again. Going down to the cargo bays for the first time, having a few encounters with the many, and then that eerie silence. So the only sound is your footsteps on the metal plates, and then all of a sudden you hear a monkey scream, and it's just terrifying because again you're on edge, you're waiting for something to happen, and then it's just this monkey scream. But I flew backwards. I just shot away from the keyboard, flew backwards. Just proper jumped out my skin. Brilliant game, fantastic. And you got sympathy for the enemies. Some of them ask you to kill them, and they're coming at you with a shotgun saying, "Kill me," because there's that remnants of humanity still within them, that they're aware of what's been done to them. Oh, fantastic!
Was this
game.
Ken Levine?
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
He lost a lot along the years, didn't he?
Yeah, this was Looking Glass's finest hour. System Shock 2. Just best game ever. Best game. A lot of love for that. You can probably tell I've got a lot of love for that game.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
Discussing System Shock and old games and articles written about them, I saw that Rick Lane just linked to something I think he'd written about Doom 3.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but I think he said it doesn't come off well.
Yeah, no, I read it today. Funny, I had a quick go of it not too long. I want to say not too long ago, but it's probably about 6 months. But
yeah.
Similarly, I actually found myself enjoying it more than I did when it first came out. When it first came out, I played it through to finish and just thought it was awful. It was one of those games where I finished it and I thought, why did I even bother? Why did I give up all that time to play that? It was garbage. But playing it again more recently, I found myself more forgiving. I still think it's a rubbish game, but I was far more sympathetic to what they were trying to do. Silly little things like the interactions with the consoles. And what they were trying to do as far as mood and lighting is concerned and telling the story. I can't look.
That bloody lighting thing.
Yeah, but I can't.
Did you at least play it with the duct tape mod?
No.
Because it's awful with that. That's just such a terrible. It's just such an immersion-breaking decision. Like, I get, yes, they're trying to make it scary, but fuck off.
Well, that was my attitude originally.
That's why it's called the duct tape mod. You can tape light to yourself.
No.
Everything else, fine. Like, because you still have, a very small window of light. It's still fucking scary. Like, Doom 3 is one of the first games I bought, like, without being a filthy pirate, because I actually had money then. And then I went, oh my god, why did I spend money on a game?
But no, I totally get that, and that was my attitude when I first played it. But I say playing it again, maybe because I've been through all that and I've had that argument myself, and I know that it can be modded out now. So I know I've got the opportunity to do that if I want to. I didn't play much of it. It's not like I played it right the way through or anything. I literally just had a little go of it again, and I was a bit more, all right, fair enough. I get what they were trying to do. All right, it was a failure. And as far as a shooter's concerned, it's very humdrum and tedious. But, I think I'm probably just more forgiving these days.
Well, it's interesting to look back on things and sort of study them rather than play through them for sort of maximum enjoyment or value for money, I suppose.
Yeah.
Would you not think maybe your standards have been lowered by a lot of more modern games?
No, because I think we're equally I think we're equally critical of games these days.
But like Bioshock Infinite, it was not that exciting compared to what you've said about System Shock. Like Bioshock Infinite they had all this background stuff and it just remained background stuff.
Yeah, that was a lot of it. They had part part of the game, like parts of the game, were actually pretty good. Like the technical aspects of it were really good. Like the way it directed you through the game, that was very good. Like the way lighting was used to say you should probably go this way, and
because
the way
there's nowhere else to go.
Well, there were ancillary things you could do. You could go over here if you like.
You could go into a shop and find nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
Sorry, that's what disappointed me about Infinite. Like, you looked at the world and you went, oh, there's all these shops, there's all these other things. But there was never anything in the shops. And you went to the festival thing, and yes, you threw a softball at someone. And then you came back and there was still nobody in the shops. Because they weren't real people. They had no stories.
You see, I played that. You're absolutely right, and I still love Bioshock Infinite because right from the outset, maybe because maybe my expectations are low these days. Playing that game, I knew that the people that I interacted with weren't going to be real. The only real people in the game were Bucket and Elizabeth. And I knew that from the outset, right from the very beginning of the game. I knew that the only people that matter in this, everybody else is scenery. They are there just to facilitate my experience. It was like going through an animatronic waxworks.
That does almost sound to me like the whole GTA problem, where after a point after San Andreas, a lot of people sort of what's it called, sandbox games seem to be the thing, and open world with like buzzwords. And I remember Mafia 2 getting a lot of criticism initially because people went on about it's actually not open world, or it's not I can't go anywhere and do anything, it's not as open as I thought it'd be, etc. And I can't remember if I read an interview or it was just reading these articles and stuff myself. I just thought to myself, I don't think they ever said it was going to be an open world. The only problem is it looks a bit like a GTA game set in the I can't remember what it was now, 40s or 60s or something. I probably got that wrong.
I thought it was the 20s, but yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Mafia 2 was set after the Second World War.
So it was 60s, yeah, okay. The original was probably 20s.
Nice.
The original was 20s, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
But it was just a very well-realized world, and it had a story to tell, and it was more linear, and that was its thing. Which, for a lot of people, I later read sort of their impressions of it. They enjoyed it very much for what it was, and didn't want it to try to be GTA. And another incident happened. I think I can't remember the journalist, but some journalist was interviewing the developer about Rage, or someone criticized them and they didn't understand why, because he seemed to because Rage looked, first of all, they kept bringing up that it looked a bit like Borderlands, and id Software, were really adamant it wasn't a Borderlands clone, and that they wouldn't discuss that point at all. But because Borderlands was more sort of open up and you could sort of, upgrade loads of things and run around more, they didn't get that it was a more traditional, shall we say, id game where it's, linear. And they were criticizing that. I think they started the game, and instead of jumping into the buggy or car and starting this sort of scripted sequence at the beginning where you're racing along and, shooting stuff, they tried to walk the other way and then were sniped dead. And I think they were trying to ask why that. But I mean, they were going oh, why does this happen? Why can't I walk anywhere and do anything? And they were like, well, it's not
it depends
an
on your
open
attitude.
world game.
I mean, Nick's problem was that he got summarily sniped, not that he wanted to go somewhere. Like if you want to say don't go across this barrier, say don't go across this barrier.
Yeah.
Don't just kill the player.
See,
it's their way of doing it. It's less annoying than coming across a transparent, barrier or one of those tables in a game that's about knee height and you can't step over for some reason. But it was more just that, someone saw a game and they assumed that it was going to be open world.
I've seen that.
It may be a problem with the message, the publicity and PR. They don't point out how story based it is. But a COD game,
story based and linear are completely different concepts. Let's not conflate those.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
No, but the sniper mechanic is no different to the Far Cry one, where if you swim too far out, you get eaten by a shark, is it? It's to keep you in the play zone.
Well, it's being eaten by a shark in deep ocean is a reasonable assumption to swimming around in deep ocean.
This is my chance to say on record, I think they should just let the pandas die and save the sharks.
And that leaves you, Hanny, with the final question, which is, how might someone share in Destiny's success after all?
Oh, God. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to put together the details because I know something about... Was this Destiny's composer or something?
Yep.
But I know that... I know it has something to do with Destiny's composer getting his shares back, like literal, shares in a company. I don't know the actual details of why he lost them in the first place, though.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I know.
Well,
the composer has shares, so he's going to share in the profits.
Yeah, I mean, that is the key element to it. This is composer Marty O'Donnell, who was responsible for the soundtrack to Bungie's Halo series and worked on the upcoming Destiny. He was issued founding shares in the company back in 2002, but the developer withdrew them when he was dismissed in April of this year. O'Donnell sued the developer for his dismissal, received $95,000, and now Seattle arbiter Judge Sharon Armstrong has ordered Bungie to return O'Donnell's stock and restore all the rights that go along with him being a shareholder. Bungie are probably understandably unhappy with the prospect of having a former employee turning up to board meetings, and so may well appeal the decision.
So you're saying...
Sorry, Dave?
Oh.
I was going to answer. I'm glad I didn't get that question. I'd have answered something else entirely. So that was pretty good.
Well,
So Bungie tried to get rid of him, but he bounced back.
oh,
ho 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 ho!
that's it, yeah. What were you going to say, Dave? Just out of curiosity.
Earlier in the week, Joshua Rubin, one of the writers for Destiny, was picked up by Telltale Games to work on Game of Thrones. So that was...
Yes,
seem
to recall reading something about that. Yeah, very good.
There you go. That was where I was going. I was being wrong. I'd have been wrong.
But it's an interesting piece of news.
Factoid,
It is. Yes, absolutely brilliant. Okay, super. A few other news things from this week. Minecraft's release on the PS4 looks set to miss its August launch date after it failed to pass Sony's certification process. 4J.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
4J.
Oh my God.
I knew
very
that fact.
excited about that.
Well, just as a reasonable technical aside, the PS4 certification requirements are about 10 times more lax than the PS3 certification requirements.
Which were 10 times more lax than the PS2 certification requirements because you didn't need any memory card crap.
Yeah, and they've dropped like 90% of all their requirements. How do you even fail that?
They probably found a random crash or something,
Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be.
It's possible they misspelled something, to be honest.
Like PlayStation.
Yeah, if they've spelt it with a small s or something, then that's basically, like a...
Or Revelations.
No-go.
The one we failed, the one Codemasters failed on, and this is something that can still be a problem. On the PS3, you still had to, despite the fact that Sony made televisions and Microsoft didn't care, for the PS3, you still had to have all the text visible on a standard definition monitor, on like a 14-inch CRT TV. And the one that they really, really cared about was a little R symbol next to PlayStation that had to be visible as an R symbol. And we thought, sweet, with PS4, that's not going to be a problem anymore. Nope. You have to be able to play the games on a Vita, which has even fewer horizontal lines than television.
You can play PS4 games on a Vita?
It was the whole part of the whole smart thing.
Sorry, you can play PS4 games well on a Vita?
Probably not, but it was. I think it was supposed to be able to work like the Wii U thing, where the PS4 does all the rendering and sends it all to the Vita.
Yeah, I know.
And then, but still, that's only got 486 horizontal lines or something, which isn't enough to display that R. So it's still going to be a problem. That's probably what's happening.
Standard def.
The little. It's put that little R logo next to a PS4. They went, no, it doesn't work on a Vita. You have to do it all again, please.
Okie dokie. Ouya, the Android-based microconsole that turns your HD TV into an oversized, underpowered entry-level smartphone without the useful bits, is looking to launch in China by partnering with the country's largest smartphone seller. Given Ouya's popularity among illegal emulators and ROM users, Hanny, and China's reputation for apathy towards non-nationals' copyrights, it could well be that Ouya has finally found its niche.
I'm surprised they're still around.
I must have so am I.
I was expecting to hear of the Ouya too, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure, like every other Android microconsole developer, they said they were going to release like yearly updates. So,
yeah, people would need to buy the first one first, though, wouldn't they? So. Fez developer Phil Fish had his corporate website and Twitter accounts hacked. Fish has become a hate figure amongst some gamers for having personal views and opinions that don't conform to theirs, and so became a target for abuse.
I thought you were just going to say personal views and opinions.
Well, he does, doesn't he? And he dares to wear them. What an amazing guy. Oh. The way it seems to work is that because they think Phil Fish is a dick, then they have to be a bigger dick to show that he's actually just a little dick, and they can then win the world's biggest dick-off competition. Fish has since invited offers for both Polytron and the Fez IP, declaring his intention to leave the games industry, and recommended that anyone thinking of pursuing it as a career think again.
Yeah, he's also cancelled all his unannounced projects as well. He's just gone, well, screw you guys, I'm taking a ball. Whatever it is, I'm getting out.
A strange sense of deja vu.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
He did do it before when he cancelled Fez 2, but I can't blame the guy. I really can't blame the guy. He just gets abuse held at him all the time for daring to air his opinion. If you don't like his opinion,
he does dish it out though.
But he does. But
I mean,
you don't have
this
to
is an abbreviated. Well, I do. Well, actually, I still do. I do follow him, and the thing is, I follow 2,000 people on Twitter. I see a lot of people airing their opinions, and like I'd made my mind up a long time ago that he is a dick. He even came across as a dick in the
Indie Game the movie.
Indie Game the movie
that's
thing.
Where people really turned off. I don't know it.
I didn't, I mean, I offer everyone a fair chance at airing their views and such, and I even, Jim Sterling and people like that, a lot of people disagree with, but I've agreed with him at least twice, so, I continue to follow him and think he has some valid points, but...
Jim Sterling has changed his tune a lot in the past 4 or 5 years there.
Calmed down a lot, hasn't he? But... I mean, Phil Fish, has gotten a lot of abuse and such, and as you said, you can't really blame him if he wants to leave the industry and such, but, go through with it. Don't just do all this poo.
Yeah. And again, don't say you've left the industry and then say you're cancelling unannounced project in the industry, as if we're supposed to feel bad about that. Like, hang on, I thought you left.
Yeah. It just seemed that he could dish it. He dished it out, and then whenever anyone did anything to him, he was like, "Whoa!"
Well, I think the difference
became Zoidberg.
He was critical of people, but he justified his criticism. He seems like an unpleasant person to deal with, but that's just his personality. Just because he's got a relatively bad personality that you may not get on with doesn't make him a bad developer and doesn't make him a bad game maker. And that's what we should be focusing on. What he does, he doesn't set out to hurt people. He expresses an opinion, but he doesn't attack people. If he has a go at somebody, it's a critique, and he justifies it. He explains why he thinks that. Now, to my mind, people are all well and good then to go back to him and say, well, I think you're wrong and this is why. But they don't do that. It's the automatic, it just becomes a shit-throwing contest instead. And that's what I find really distasteful about the people in and around the games industry a lot of the time. And again, I know it's only a small minority, but they're a vocal, loud and smelly minority.
That's true.
Well, if you go around telling people to choke on it, you pretty much open the gates to say, this is how I talk, this is how you can talk to me. Regardless of how backed up or how justified your opinion is.
Yeah, but
if I go around saying fuck you to people's faces, then there's no reason they shouldn't do the same to me.
No, but again, it's what gets you to that point where you say that. If somebody's constantly giving you a barrage of hate, then at some point you are likely to turn around and say, well, fuck you.
And, regardless of how nasty you are, there's no real excuse for people to just come around and hack your Twitter account.
No.
I mean,
no, I'm not. I'm certainly not saying that's justified at all.
Yeah, he just comes...
Sorry.
if you're going to be a dick, be right. That's the only.
Yeah.
That's the only. That's the only real advice. If you're going to be sarcastic, if you're going to be self-righteous, if you're going to be any of those things that come across as dickish, you have to be right. Because the moment you're wrong, you're dead, pretty much.
Which is fine in matters of fact. That's fair enough. But when it comes to matters of opinion, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Well, hey.
Yeah, but there's
come up with that.
In those cases, don't state your opinion as fact. Like, if it's opinion, it's got to come across as opinion. You have to. If you're going to say, "I think you're a dick," or "I think this about this thing," that's fine. Even if it is harsh or critical, you're saying, "I think this because this," rather than "it is this." Deal with it.
Well, you see, I'm going to have to interject there and go, well, the problem is it's the internet and Twitter, and there's not always space to write IMO or whatever at the end of the tweet. But also, I've always, at one point I saw a lot of people writing IMO or in my honest opinion or whatever. And I was like, well, you're saying it's obviously your opinion. I was like, everyone has to suffix something with, in my opinion. Then it's kind of implicit anyway.
But there are some fine lines between though opinion and fact. Like, if I write 2 + 2 = 4, that's not really my opinion. 2 + 2 generally equals 4. Like, there's no way. Oh well.
But again, that would be clear.
Yeah, but there are some that aren't. There's always that fine line between things that are fact and things that are opinion, and some people then take your opinion as fact, and that's where you get this whole kind of crossover, and turns out that they were wrong, or it was just their opinion, and it turned out that there was there's a different opinion, and that's how flame wars start. Is that someone reads something, someone states his opinion as fact, and then you're in the shit train. I don't know where the shit train's headed, but it's probably going to derail and smear across the ground. And then there's a big field of shit somewhere.
It's going to skid off the rails.
Oh, lovely.
That was quite good. I like that.
While Microsoft will publicly tell you that frame rate is more important than resolution, and that really, what's a couple of hundred lines of pixels in the big scheme of things, in private they tell their partners that anything less than 1080p is unacceptable. This revelation came from Blizzard, who, having shown Diablo 3 at E3 running at 900p, were approached by Microsoft and given new tools to help increase the resolution to meet the 1080p requirement.
What? They didn't give us that crap. What the hell? All right.
1080p is a requirement.
It is apparently now, yeah.
Is it?
I guess they've taken too much shit from Rise.
Possibly, and again, because it's just a numbers game now, isn't it? PS4 can do 1080p at 60 frames a second. It matters.
I'm pretty confident I can render a green square on a PS4 at 60 frames a second and 1080p.
Well, that's it. It's
Wait. Were you just saying you're actually? There's no point in you porting Thomas Was Alone. It's already on PS4. Never mind.
But this, I actually have some sympathy with Microsoft in this situation, because certain games frame rate will be more important than resolution, but other times resolution will be more important than frame rate. As PC players, it's something we're well adapted to. There are games when we'll lower the resolution to get the frame rate up, because that's more important. And there's other games where we can happily let it tootle along at 30, but have the higher resolution because we need to see detail. It should be game specific.
It's also not just as a PC user. It's never just that though. We can turn our frame rate down or whatever, but we can also do things like turn off anisotropic filtering, or change the way the way the anti-aliasing is done, or use lower poly models or lower res textures. We have that kind of. We can generally tweak the game if it's a PC game. Tweak the game to our liking.
Yeah, but I'm fine with the developers deciding that. If they've got a game, if they think, well, hang on, we're better off releasing this at 900p and keeping the frame rate up than pushing it to 1080p and losing a few frames per second, I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm happy to leave it with the developers.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not the one who's selling a console which is widely seen as the lesser console.
I know, but my problem is the fact that gamers don't appreciate this, and that they've got this in their head that it has to be 1080p, and the PS4, well, I mean, from a hardware perspective, obviously the PS4 is better, and certainly games-wise, to my mind, if I was going to buy one of the next gens right now, it would be the PS4.
And that's exactly why Microsoft feel they have to do this.
Yeah, but isn't that a shame?
Don't you like Tomb Raider, Kevin? Have you got something against games with female protagonists?
Well done. And finally, Activision have confirmed that Kevin Spacey Simulator, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, will not be released on the Wii U. Eric Hirschberg was quoted as saying, "We want to make sure we're bringing the games to the platforms where the audience for our games live." Well, for the record, Eric, the majority of the audience for your games live at home with their mum, probably hacking Phil Fisher's accounts.
Yes.
And that was the news.
Accurate. But anyway, yeah.
Okie doke. Fastest finger first. Let's remind everybody of our buzzers. Debbie? Awesome. Dave?
That's awful. Let's try this one. Yes.
What?
No, it's awful as well.
What?
It'll be one of these noises, fine.
It's still a toilet noise. That's definitely a toilet noise.
It's very quiet
There
as
we go.
well.
We'll do that one.
It's just a bit quiet, yeah.
Very
Hang on. Is that louder?
Bit better.
I'll just blow my speakers out. It'll be fine.
That one's a bit hand shot first. That'll do.
That's because it's Han Solo's blaster. Good work.
Excellent. And
And it's got that quiet build up so I can get my clap in while it's going and no one will notice.
and Hanny?
Yep.
Awesome. With your lovely girly doll. Fantastic. Right. Question 1. Infamous Second Son is centered on which American city? Debbie?
Seattle.
It is indeed Seattle.
Hooray!
Did you get that by virtue of being the only person here with a PlayStation 4, possibly?
Possibly, yes.
What city is Watch Dogs set in?
Um,
Debbie again?
Chicago.
It is Chicago.
I played that on PS4 as well.
There you go.
Are they all PS4 games?
only 5 of them.
I see.
Hanny's,
Don't start.
Hanny's waiting for the proper version.
Wee.
Okay, sticking with Watch Dogs, what's the name of the protagonist? Debbie?
Aiden something.
Yes, it is Aiden something. It's Aiden the
Maybe
Fox.
Quid? What?
Aiden the Fox Pierce. Aiden Pierce, but his hacker name is the Fox. Bless him.
I had totally forgotten that. I hate that game.
People
so
have
much.
forgotten about Watch Dogs already.
I only played it like 3 weeks ago.
Instantly forgettable. Fantastic.
I mean, I shouldn't. I
Really
knew
is.
it was called Aiden as well, but that's left my mind for some reason. Yeah.
Okay, now we head over to the Stuart Luff Appreciation Corner for our listener question. And this week, Stuart asks, what is the name of the nanovirus that is ravaging the world's population in Deus Ex?
God.
I love that game, and I played it 6 times, and I've forgotten.
God, I've just got the names of the whole T-virus, G-virus crap from Resident Evil going through my head now.
It's not.
Hang on, I'm gonna look at the back of the box for Invisible War and see if it's in that. Nope. When an attack wipes out Chicago.
Oh, no, I remember!
Press your buzzer.
Dave?
It's the Grey Death.
It is the Grey Death. Well done. Well remembered in the end there. Can you remember what causes it? Just out of curiosity.
Nanoviruses.
Yeah,
It's used by, what's it called, the Majestic 12 or something? To control some of the augmentations. All I can remember is that you could stop it. You could beat the virus by filling yourself with custard. And
Right, okay. Well, yeah.
ambrosia. There's a bad joke. And then, yeah, I can't remember what happened with it.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I asked, but you have just destroyed questions 4 and 5.
Do you fill it with custard? What?
Ambrosia. You could pick up something called ambrosia, which would stop the virus in you.
Yeah.
Ambrosia, custard, Devon custard. R.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, it's the Grey Death, which was caused by nanites infecting the bodies of people who were indisposed to augmentation, resulting in the body's natural defences rejecting and fighting the cells the nanites had integrated into. The next question, sorry, just say thank you very much to Stuart for sending that in.
Thanks, Stuart.
Yeah, the next question was going to be staying with Deus Ex. What was the antidote to the Grey Death called? And as they said, it was ambrosia Devon custard, which itself was a ROM package that attached to and neutralised the nanites and prevented them infecting any more cells. The nanites were released as a bioweapon by a splinter group from the Illuminati led by Bob Page. What were they called? As Dave ruined,
also said
they were called Majestic 12.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Looking on the bright side, he has.
Wait, does he get points for all those then?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
God damn it! I was doing so well.
Damn, how do I get him disqualified?
Yeah, just blitzed in and stole all the points there. Well done.
Just when you get an answer next time, Hanny, just keep talking.
Just
Shouldn't be a problem
extrapolate on
for
the
me,
answer
yeah.
because there'll be more questions on it.
What type of animal is Sly Cooper? Hanny.
Fox? No, sorry. Wolf?
No, he's not a fox. You got that wrong.
What? He looks like a wolf.
He's not a fox.
Or a wolf.
Or a wolf. No.
I was going to go for a raccoon, but I know he's got some kind of tail.
No, you should have gone for raccoon. You'd have been right.
What?
See, I told you, keep talking. The answers come out.
Yeah,
Raccoon?
Yeah, he's a raccoon. Sly Cooper is a raccoon. Yeah. What is Sly's profession?
Platform jumper? I don't know.
Some sort of thief.
Can you be a professional thief?
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's a thief.
Oh, okay.
He's a thief.
It was totally in the game's title,
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
It was,
thieves
yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the titles are related to thieving. What's the name of gaming's true thief? Hanny.
I don't know why I have a feeling I'm going to get this wrong now. Garrett?
It is, of course, Garrett.
Ah, thank God.
Garrett.
My brain suddenly went, wait, what if you're remembering wrong? Sorry.
Doesn't matter. Say it anyway.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
Say more about it. We'll get more points somewhere because you'll answer a different question.
Yeah.
Garrett, the new game was shit because I watched about 3 YouTube videos where I thought it was the video desyncing, but apparently throughout half the cutscenes, the actual audio and
the
subtitles
audio was
are just
awful.
desynced.
Yeah.
I liked the game in I have stolen all the scissors of this city. I think I've just stolen scissors and sold them to people and stolen the same pair 5 minutes later. But it was fun if you accepted all the stupid limitations.
I mean, in its not defense or anything, one of the plus points, I suppose, is it apparently did so badly that the price just kept falling and falling until it's now available for like $4.99 or
Not a
something.
lot. Yeah.
I mean, it was $9.99.
It wasn't as bad as people said, but yeah, it was no Dishonored either.
It was probably people being disappointed because I played Deus Ex and I thought the sneaking here is pretty good. I'm kind of looking forward more to the new Thief now because they'll be doing that next. And then it got reviewed so badly that they kind of destroyed any hope I had for...
Yeah, a game that is a successor to a game or a series of games that won awards for their audio and their use of audio in a way that hasn't been surpassed since should not fuck up their audio. But
it was a bad idea
the main dialogue would be drowned out by ambient dialogue that just happened to be vaguely nearby. In cutscenes, it was amazingly shit, that bit.
I'm going to become part of the problem and say I'll just wait for the Steam sale.
It's been on sale. I still skipped it.
Yeah.
The girl in New Thief, is that the one that Garrett finds at the end of Deadly Shadows?
Maybe.
Probably. I think she was supposed to be like, I don't know. People were guessing that she could have been the protagonist of the new one, but instead, I just heard this. I haven't actually played it, but I heard she sort of dies in a cutscene at the beginning or something.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she was in the trailers as falling through a big roof thing and disappearing.
See, I quite liked how Deadly Shadows wound back to the original Dark Project. In that, she goes to pick his pocket and he gets hold of her hand, and he says basically what was said to him at the very beginning of the first game. Not a lot of people can see her, especially one that doesn't want to be seen. I nearly gave the answer to the final question away there. Well, what was the name of the organisation that recruited Garrett as a boy?
The Thieves Guild.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember. I must have come across this at some point.
Well, so if you think about the line of dialogue that I just said, but fits in the word that I skipped because I nearly gave the answer away.
League of Shadows or something.
No.
Can't remember.
No, they were the keepers.
Yeah, I have come
Because
across.
that's what it says. Not a lot of people can see a keeper, especially one that doesn't want to be seen. That's what the fella says to the boy Garrett at the beginning of the Dark Project, and it's what Garrett says to the girl at the end of Deadly Shadows.
I don't know. Sounds a bit wanky to me.
Brilliant, the Thief series. Apart from the latest one, obviously, which I've not played, and is rubbish because I've not played it. If it was
You
good,
should get it in the next Steam sale.
if it was good, I'd have played it.
Yeah.
Okie dokie, folks. We're done.
Well played, team.
Yay!
Yeah.
Wait,
We're all
You know?
winners.
Especially me.
Everyone.
Was this a co-op?
Right, and the scores. Debbie, you reached the dizzy heights of level 7. Very well done.
Hurrah! Is that
In
good?
previous weeks, that's been a winning score.
But not this week.
Is it this week? Let's find out. Dave,
Yes.
don't know how,
Yes.
but you managed to get to level 8.
Probably because he just kept talking.
Apparently, yeah, that's the strategy. I think I do that a lot, but it's off topic, so I don't get
Yeah,
any
you're not
points
supposed
for
to change topic. Stop talking about Nintendo.
There should be a bonus point. How many off-topic topics can you discuss?
And Hanny, drum roll, you made it all the way to level 5. So Dave is this week's winner.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel feels good. I'd like to thank
Are you supposed to shout cowabunga or
Victory is sweet. Thank you all for playing. Thank you anybody out there who took the time to listen to us. From me, Debbie, Dave and Hanny, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye!
Level Up was hosted by me, Kev Furlong, and was a fairly whirly production.
Alright, is that it? Are we done?
We done? Yeah, that's fine. Okay.